Hey everybody, my name's Haydn Halsted with the Halsted Hometeam right here in Spokane, Washington. And if you are considering the move to Spokane, you might be wondering, especially if you're coming from somewhere like Portland or Seattle, just a more bikeable city, you might be wondering if you can continue that biking lifestyle here in Spokane, if you're used to kind of living in the downtown area or you're coming from a place that's relatively flat, all those things. So that's what this video is all about. Let's get right into it. So like I said, I'm a realtor here in Spokane, Washington, and I love helping people relocate to the area. I get calls and texts from people all the time moving to the area with all sorts of different questions, and this has been one that has been coming up recently. And so I wanted to talk about a few projects that we have going on. But if you are looking to move to the area, you can call, text, or email me anytime. I would be happy to answer any of your questions and help you have a smooth transition here to Spokane. So anyway, to get into the biking portion of this video, we're going to jump into my laptop and check out a few articles here. But in terms of bikeability, so the first thing that we want to look at is what is already here. What do we already have? And so the number one thing that we already have here in Spokane is the Centennial Trail. So the Centennial Trail, it's a 63-mile trail that stretches all from one side, the farthest side is West Spokane as you can get, all the way to as far east as you can get to where it actually crosses over the Idaho border, and then actually it just continues on for like another 25 miles or something like that into Idaho. So you can start all the way up in Riverside State Park near the 9 Mile Falls Dam, and then work your way down along Spokane River, right through downtown, all the way through Spokane Valley and over the Idaho border. And so this makes it great for people that live kind of along the trail, and then maybe especially if you're somewhere like where I live. So I live in the Logan neighborhood just north of Gonzaga. Centennial Trail goes right through Gonzaga, so I can take the side streets from my house about maybe less than half a mile, get on the Centennial Trail, and then follow the Centennial Trail along the Spokane River until I get right into the middle of downtown. So I'm able to go from my house to the middle of downtown by just like 4 or 5 blocks of side streets and then using the trail. So it's super convenient, and it's been great for where I currently live right now. If you live somewhere like on the South Hill, where you would have to go where there's a large hill no matter what, coming down would be fun, but going back up is not going to be so fun if you're biking. So the Centennial Trail is already some massive infrastructure that we have for biking here in Spokane, Washington. So the big complaint we get is that that's kind of the only places that there's really bike trails. You know, when there's bike trails or bike lanes when you get down by the Gonzaga campus. If you're off of Hamilton and Sharp especially, those have bike lanes just around the college campus because there's so many kids biking around there to and from class and from their apartments and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, we have a handful of bike lanes downtown, but for the most part, it's pretty barren here in Spokane in terms of bike lanes, and that's kind of been a complaint for some people. Now, I think this complaint has not gone unheard, because now that we jump into my laptop, we're going to see that there's some massive projects going on to help solve this issue. So let's check that out. So, as reported by the Spokesman Review, our newspaper here, just about a week ago, or a couple weeks ago from today, they actually announced this really cool project that's going on Riverside. And Riverside is kind of a road in downtown that has needed some updates for a little while because it's pretty bumpy. And so it's good that we're just going to get a brand new road in there anyway. But taking a look at this, we're actually going to, it's 4 lanes right now. We're going to go down to 3 lanes. So basically 2 in each, or 1 in each direction with a turn lane. And then you're going to have parking next to that. And then you're going to have the bike lanes next to the sidewalk. So I think this is going to be awesome, because this is really the kind of the layout you see in some of those bigger cities like Portland. This is a very popular layout around there. And then I even lived in Missoula for like 5 or so years. And so this is actually kind of the layout they have in their main strip, because that's a very bike friendly community. So I think it's awesome because the parked cars are really going to protect the bikers from the traffic. They even have it set up, you can kind of see in the back middle left right there, that's actually going to be a bus stop. And so they've actually put the bike lanes on the outside of the bus stop, and so that the bikes can just keep going through, and the stopped buses aren't going to need to like go into the bike lanes or anything like that and cause a disruption either. So I think this is going to be awesome for kind of one of the main streets in downtown Spokane to be able to have this, because this road kind of goes into the University District as well. So like I said, I mean, now I would be able to go to the Centennial Trail, work my way into the University District very easily, and then work my way to Riverside fairly safely for the most part. And so I think this is going to be an awesome addition to downtown Spokane. So the next major project that we have going on is the Trent Avenue Bridge that is currently not there because it's completely gone. It was a bridge that was over 100 years old, and we have quite a few of those here in Spokane, but this one just wasn't holding up as well as some of the others. And so they have completely taken it out. They're rebuilding it, and that started in 2020. The plan was for it to take about 4 years. So this bridge is probably not going to open up for about another 2 years, but the plan is to completely rebuild it with wide crosswalks, wide bike lanes, and then traffic that can go either way. And so then this will be a great connector from the Sprague and University District as well into downtown. And so, because this will again be easy access to connect to the Centennial Trail from this area, and then you'll be able to work your way downtown. And then easily make yourself to Riverside. So the city is working on trying to build more bike paths and bike systems, and all these kind of construction projects that are going on right now are all going to work together to kind of bridge that gap that we're missing right now. I also think this will be a huge benefit because the Sprague district has gone through huge changes and is still going through those huge changes, and there's some great businesses going in there. Many of the homes are being renovated constantly, and that neighborhood is constantly turning over and becoming better and better. And so I think having this walkable, bikeable access from that Sprague neighborhood to downtown is going to really bring in some new life to that neighborhood. And I think this is just one of those neighborhoods that if you bought now, in 5-6 years from now when you go to sell, you're going to be very happy you did, because it's just going to feel like a whole new neighborhood around you, and it's going to make your house worth way more than what you bought it for. Now, speaking of bridges that are going on, we're going to talk about what's going on in the Centennial Trail. Let's talk about what's going on the Centennial Trail, because there are some other massive projects that I didn't even realize how big they were until I actually read this right here. So right now, down by that Centennial Trail, let's say it follows the river, and then it works its way through Gonzaga, and then it works its way to Mission Park. And at that point right now, what it was doing was you had to actually stop at a stoplight, cross the Mission, which is a very busy street, and then come down a bridge, and then you continue down on the Centennial Trail. So there's kind of a break in the Centennial Trail. And so, and it was just kind of, that area is just so busy and gets kind of sketchy. And then what's actually kind of odd right now is that the Centennial Trail, you had to just go, it kind of just ended for a minute, and there was no connection. You had to go around a vista and then work your way back to the trail and everything. So they're actually building a park in this area off the Centennial Trail in a vista, and I've driven past it a couple times. Maybe we'll have some B-roll here, but it's just going to be a little park. It's going to have it'll be nice to have another access point to the river, because there's only so few beaches along the river where people can actually go swimming in the summer. So it'll be nice to have another one. But yeah, it's so far, just driving past it, it looks really nice, and it's going to be allow for an easier connection around on the near side of a vista, rather than having to go like this long direction around it. So after that park is finished, it looks like we are working more on that Mission gap that I was talking about. And so because it's been an issue for a long time, that road has just gotten busier and busier. And so phase 1 of that Mission gap was they just created a pedestrian island in the middle of the street, so that there was at least like halfway points to get across the street, and it just felt a little bit safer. And then, so now they're talking about putting a Centennial Trail bridge over Mission Avenue, which would be crazy. So I mean, you would come out of Mission Park and then busy street, so we're just going to build a pedestrian bridge over the top so traffic wouldn't have to stop. And because the other crazy thing that's right there is a train track just right in the middle of this busy intersection, and it stops everything. Like the bikers can't go, the cars can't go, and so it's just, when the train goes through there, it's just chaos. And so that could help a lot of things. It could help at least the foot traffic not have to stop during that. And then, like I just said, so there's the train that goes through there. So then they're looking at putting a tunnel underneath the tracks so that you wouldn't have to stop and could just go straight across. So basically, can we go over? Can we go under? That's kind of what they're trying to figure out right now, so that huge stop and annoyance in the Centennial Trail can go away. So I think in terms of Spokane being a bikeable city, we're getting there. We have some huge projects underway that I think are putting us in the right direction. Neighborhoods like Kendall Yards are super bikeable, and they have that Portland vibe where you kind of live, work, play in the same neighborhood, and so it's very easy to go anywhere on your bike. The Greenstone, a big construction company here in Spokane, is building basically a replica of that over in Liberty Lake, and so there will be another neighborhood option for that. But in terms of trying to connect neighborhood to neighborhood with bikes, we're slowly but surely getting there. And so hopefully by the time you're making that move, or if you're making that move here in the next 9 days or 90 days, you'll be looking at, hopefully in the near future, a more bikeable option. So like I said, if you are moving to Spokane, Washington, please give me a call, text, or email anytime. I'd love to help you make the transition. We have a beautiful city here that is rapidly growing, and people like you can help to make the changes that we're looking for. So anyway, this is Haydn Halsted signing off. We hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.